Russia is a ruse. Are there any ties between Mr. Trump, you or your campaign, and Putin and his regime?
No, there are not. It's absurd.
We hear experts. His house cat at home once said that this is what's happening with the Russians. It's disgusting. It's so phony.
I have nothing to do with Russia.
I have nothing to do with Putin.
Mr. Trump has no financial relationships with any Russian oligarchs.
That's what he said. That's what I said. That's obviously what our position is.
And Mr. Page has opened up private communications with senior Russian officials.
If he's doing that, he's certainly not doing it with the permission or the knowledge of the campaign.
I don't know Putin.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet. She always likes to tie me in with Russia. I have nothing to do with Russia, folks.
Did anyone involved in the Trump campaign have any contact with Russians trying to meddle with the election?
Absolutely not. And I discussed that with the president-elect just last night.
I didn't not have communications with the Russians.
Did any advisor or anybody in the Trump campaign have any contact with the Russians?
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Why would there be any contacts between the campaigns?
There's nothing that would conclude me that anything different has changed with respect to that time period.
How many times do I have to answer this question?
Can you just say
Russia
yes or no
is a ruse.
We don't know of any contacts with Russian agents.
You say that the intelligence community says that there were no contacts.
That story in the New York Times is complete garbage.
There was no collusion. There was no nothing.
If the president puts Russian salad dressing on his salad tonight, somehow that's a Russian connection.
There is no collusion between me and my campaign and the Russians.
Never, ever, ever did I ever see anybody have contact with any agent.
The entire thing has been a witch hunt, and there is no collusion.
We have no dealings in Russia. We have no projects in Russia. We have nothing to do with Russia.
That I was aware of any collusion is an appalling and detestable lie.
No collusion.
No collusion.
No collusion.
Did the vice president ever meet with representatives from Russia?
I'm not aware of anything that I have seen.
Collusion, no. Illusion, delusion, yes.
This notion that we were colluding with the Russians but couldn't remember the proper mailing address of our campaign in Pennsylvania is just preposterous.
I can't imagine anyone had the time nor the wherewithal to go out there even do something like this.
The only thing I see misleading is a year's worth of stories that have been fueling a false narrative about this Russia collusion.
The Russia story is a total fabrication. There is no collusion. You know why? Because I don't speak to Russians. Russia had nothing to do with me winning. No, Russia did not help me.
Look, I was there. It's a total and complete farce.
There has been absolutely no collusion.
No collusion on my side.
There's still no evidence of collusion.
The president had nothing to do with coordination, collusion, or cooperation.
We've been saying from day one there's been no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion, and nothing in the indictment today changes that. There was no collusion, and we're looking forward to moving forward and hoping that you guys can as well.
These indictments last week had nothing to do with the campaign, had nothing to do with Russian collusion.
No collusion. No collusion.
I just don't put out there that there's a scintilla of evidence that shows Russian collusion.
There's no collusion, no collusion.
No collusion, there's no cooperation, there's no coordination.
There is absolutely no collusion.
The collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, I think that's a bunch of nonsense.
The collusion now is dead because everyone found that after a year of study, there's been absolutely no collusion. There has been no collusion between us and the Russians.